When most people think about legendary Chevy engines, they picture small block V8s or big block monsters. But hidden in Chevrolet's engine bay for over 3 decades was an inline-six that refused to quit. The 292 cubic inch straight six wasn't flashy, wasn't fast, and definitely wasn't sexy. But it was something more important: absolutely bulletproof. This is the story of how Chevrolet's humble inline-six became the last great workhorse engine of the straight-six era, powering everything from family sedans to heavy-duty trucks long after everyone else had given up on the configuration. Sometimes the greatest engines aren't the most powerful ones, but the ones that simply refuse to die. To understand the 292's significance, you need to picture the automotive landscape of the 1960s and 70s. Inline-six engines were the backbone of American transportation, the reliable workhorses that kept the country moving. They were simpler than V8s, cheaper to build than complex engines, and more durable than almost anything else on 4 wheels. The inline-six configuration offered inherent advantages that engineers loved. Perfect primary balance meant these engines ran smoothly without expensive balancing shafts. The long-stroke design delivered massive torque at low RPMs, perfect for truck work and heavy hauling. Most importantly, the simple design meant fewer things could go wrong, making them ideal for commercial applications where downtime meant lost money. Chevrolet had been building inline-sixes since the 1920s, continuously refining the basic concept. By the 1960s, they had the formula perfected: cast iron construction, proven valve train design, and engineering focused on longevity over performance. While competitors chased horsepower numbers, Chevy built engines that could run for 500,000 miles with basic maintenance. The 292nd didn't appear overnight. It evolved from Chevrolet's long experience with inline-six engines, representing the culmination of decades of incremental improvements. Introduced in 1963, the 292 was designed specifically to be the ultimate truck engine, built for applications where reliability mattered more than excitement. Chevrolet's engineers started with their proven 235 cubic inch inline-six foundation, but stretched everything bigger. The bore increased to 3.875 inches, while the stroke grew to 4.125 inches, creating exactly 292 cubic inches of displacement. But size wasn't the only improvement. The 292 featured stronger cylinder heads, improved cooling passages, and a beefier bottom end designed to handle constant heavy-duty use. The engineering philosophy was refreshingly simple: build it strong, keep it simple, make it last. The 292 used proven hydraulic valve lifters, a single-barrel carburetor for reliability, and conservative compression ratios that allowed it to run on regular gasoline. This wasn't about pushing technological boundaries. It was about perfecting proven technology. Most importantly, Chevrolet designed the 292 for serviceability. Everything was accessible, parts were cheap and plentiful, and any mechanic in America could work on one with basic tools. In an era when engines were becoming increasingly complex, the 292 remained refreshingly straightforward. When Chevrolet introduced the 292 inline-six in 1963, it wasn't marketed as revolutionary or groundbreaking. Instead, it was simply presented as the reliable choice for serious truck work. The initial applications were primarily in Chevrolet's C-Series pickup trucks, where the engine's 165 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque provided plenty of capability for most truck buyers. The 292nd filled a crucial gap in Chevrolet's lineup. The smaller 230 cubic inch six was adequate for light-duty work, while the 283 V8 offered more power but at higher cost and complexity. The 292 provided V8-like torque with inline-six reliability and fuel economy, making it the sweet spot for practical truck buyers. Early customer reactions were overwhelmingly positive, but not for the reasons you might expect. Nobody bought a 292-powered truck to go fast or impress neighbors. They bought them because these engines delivered exactly what they promised: reliable, consistent performance day after day, year after year. Fleet managers and commercial buyers immediately recognized the 292's value proposition. The engine's real-world performance characteristics perfectly matched its intended applications. Peak torque arrived at just 1,600 RPM, For nearly 2 decades, the Chevrolet 292 Inline-Six represented the gold standard for truck reliability. During this period, the engine found its way into virtually every application where dependability mattered more than performance. From pickup trucks to delivery vans, school buses to industrial equipment, the 292 became the go-to choice for serious work. Production numbers tell the story of the 292's success. Chevrolet built hundreds of thousands of these engines, with peak production occurring in the early 1970s when truck sales exploded and commercial buyers demanded proven reliability. The 292 wasn't just popular with individual truck buyers. It became the engine of choice for fleet operators who needed vehicles that could handle abuse while minimizing maintenance costs. The engine's reputation for durability became legendary among commercial users. Stories circulated of 292 powered trucks reaching 300,000, 400,000, even 500,000 miles with nothing more than regular oil changes and basic maintenance. Taxi companies loved them, delivery services swore by them, and construction contractors built their businesses around them. During these peak years, Chevrolet continuously refined the 292 without fundamentally changing its character. Improved carburation, better cooling systems, and enhanced emissions equipment were added gradually, but the basic engine remained true to its original design philosophy. The company understood they had something special and wisely avoided fixing what wasn't broken. The 292 also found applications beyond Chevrolet trucks. The engine powered school buses, commercial vans, and even some marine applications. Its reputation for reliability transcended automotive boundaries, making it a favorite wherever steady, dependable power was needed. Industrial equipment manufacturers frequently specified the 292 for stationary applications, knowing it could run continuously for years without major service. The beginning of the end for the 292s and inline-sixes in general came from multiple directions simultaneously. The 1973 oil crisis fundamentally changed American automotive priorities, suddenly making fuel economy more important than durability or simplicity. While the 292 was reasonably efficient for its size, newer V6 engines promised better mileage with adequate power. Emissions regulations proved even more challenging for the aging inline-six design. The long combustion chambers and simple breathing systems that made the 292 so reliable also made it difficult to meet increasingly strict pollution standards. Adding catalytic converters, EGR systems, and other emissions equipment gradually choked the life out of the engine's performance while increasing complexity. Perhaps most importantly, manufacturing economics turned against inline-six engines. V6 engines could be built on the same assembly lines as V8s, sharing tooling and reducing production costs. The 292's unique inline configuration required dedicated machinery and separate assembly processes, making it increasingly expensive to produce in lower volumes. By the late 1970s, writing was on the wall. Chevrolet's new generation of V6 and V8 engines offered better fuel economy, cleaner emissions, and more sophisticated performance characteristics. The 292 represented old-school engineering in an increasingly high-tech world, and even its legendary reliability couldn't overcome changing market demands. When Chevrolet finally discontinued the 292 inline-six in 1990, it marked the end of an era that stretched back to the dawn of the automobile. The 292 wasn't just Chevrolet's last inline-six, it was essentially America's last great straight-six engine, ending a configuration that had powered the country for decades. The 292's legacy extends far beyond its production numbers or technical specifications. It represented a philosophy of engineering that prioritized longevity over flash, simplicity over complexity, and proven reliability over cutting-edge technology. In today's world of turbocharged, computer-controlled engines, the 292's straightforward approach seems almost quaint. Among truck enthusiasts and collectors, the 292 has achieved legendary status. Original examples are increasingly sought after by buyers who appreciate the engine's honest character and bulletproof reputation. Restoration shops report strong demand for 292-powered trucks, particularly from customers who value authenticity over modern performance. Perhaps most importantly, the 292 demonstrated that American manufacturers could build engines as reliable as anything from Japan or Europe. At a time when domestic quality was frequently questioned, the 292 stood as proof that American engineering could produce world-class durability when priorities were properly aligned. Looking back at the Chevrolet 292 from today's perspective reveals just how much the automotive world has changed. Modern truck engines produce 3 times the horsepower while achieving twice the fuel economy, yet many require premium fuel and complex maintenance schedules that would have baffled 292 owners. The Inline-Six configuration itself has virtually disappeared from American automotive production. While BMW and Mercedes continue building sophisticated straight sixes for performance applications, the simple, robust approach exemplified by the 292 has been completely abandoned. Modern engines are marvels of technology, but they're also expensive to service and difficult to repair without specialized equipment. There's something to be said for the 292's simplicity in our increasingly complex automotive world. When a 292 broke down, which was rare, any mechanic could diagnose and repair it with basic tools. Today's engines require computer diagnostics, special software, and expensive factory training. Progress has benefits, but it also has costs. The 292 represents a different relationship between humans and machines, one where understanding your engine was possible and maintenance was straightforward. In our current era of sealed, computer-controlled powertrains, that hands-on connection has been largely lost. The 292 reminds us that reliability doesn't always require complexity. The Chevrolet 292 Inline-Six stands as the last great representative of an entire category of engines that once powered America. For 27 years, it delivered exactly what it promised: reliable, honest performance that kept the country's trucks running. It wasn't the most powerful engine, the most efficient engine, or the most sophisticated engine, but it was something more valuable: the most dependable engine. The 292's story is ultimately about engineering priorities and the courage to build something simple, strong, and lasting in a world increasingly obsessed with complexity and performance. It proved that sometimes the best solution is the most straightforward one, and that reliability is the most valuable performance characteristic of all. In our modern world of turbocharged, hybrid, and electric powertrains, the 292 seems like a relic from another era, but its legacy lives on in every truck that prioritizes durability over flash, in every engine designed for service rather than speed. The Chevrolet 292 was the last of the great Inline-Six workhorses, and we may never see its like again.